Weird. Oops, display capture. LG. Alrighty, I think we're situated here. OBS was giving me some weird issues when streaming to YouTube, but I think those should be good. Upstep added some great new features that I think I'm going to experiment with here a little bit. Not going to lock my risk settings like I normally do in case there's an issue with these, but 500 liquidate trailing. So they added this trailing. You can enable trailing drawdown on realized gains. So that means I set $500 daily loss limit. That means if I'm up, say I'm up $1,000 and I give back 500, it will liquidate my positions. Typically, I use liquidate and lock out so that once I hit my daily loss, I am no longer able to trade those accounts because historically, I like to, if it's just set to liquidate, I'll go in here and start fiddling with the settings and then continue to trade and sometimes blow up. But because I'm experimenting with this, we're going to see how well it works. But essentially, I think in the future I will be setting like a $300 to $500 trailing daily loss limit with unrealized gains, and so that way if I'm up, say I'm up 1,500 and I give up, I'm willing to give up a percentage of that to make more. But if I'm down 500, if I get down to like 1,000, right, from 1,500, meaning I lose 500, I want to be done for the day. Ordinarily, the way that this works is if you don't have trailing drawdown, and let's say I have a $500 daily loss limit, if I'm up $2,000, I can give back all 2,000 and then another 500 before I get locked out. And I don't want to do that, right? Nobody should want to give up a $2,000 day after you've made that kind of money. Risking 500 out of the 2,000 that you've made to me makes sense, but not a full swing from green to red hitting daily loss limit. So kind of a nice thing that they added to this Project X platform here. So we're going to see how that works. And I haven't updated my charts yet, so I'm going to do that real quick. Pretty crazy day. So I'm going to mark the daily high, move the daily low. So basically all I do is I mark the high and low for the week, the day, the 4-hour, and often the 60. 60 is an inside bar currently, so is the 30. I'll be marking both of those. So we're going to zoom into the 4-hour here. 4-hour, this daily low is also the 4-hour low currently. So going to update that. This is our 4-hour high. Zoom into the 60. I'm going to mark the 60 low. And the high. And then what did I say? The 30-minute, also an inside bar. So gonna mark that too. Make sure this is synced in layout. Reset this chart. I did start a new funded account here. Not funded, but a new evaluation account on Blue Sky. They also use Top Step X. I have no experience with them. I know a few people who are trading. They have not gotten paid out yet. They expect to get paid out this week. So we'll see how that payout process goes if there are any issues. But it was $129 for a $200,000 account, static. If you want details, you can take a look. I'm not suggesting you try them or don't try them, whatever. but they had a discount on it. They also use the Project X platform, and I am really only interested in trading with props that use this platform. I've fallen in love with just the risk tools and the interface, and so originally Top Step was the only one that had Project X, but now I think there are about 10 other firms that are using this platform. They all have different rules. Blue Sky has a 30% consistency rule, so my best day can't be more than 30% of total profits, but willing to give it a shot, see how I do. I get a $6,000 profit target. I put up 1,600 today. So max I can do is 1,800. I got the 16 and just kind of shut it down there. So I'll be trading this as well. I don't have everything marked up on my charts yet, but because it's a different provider, I'll have to mark my daily, weekly, high, low, all that sort of stuff. So I just haven't done it yet on there. Just signed up today because I locked my XFAs. I had a really nice trade. I caught. If we take a look at NQ here, and I'll show you guys what I think was just a really great trade, and maybe I'll move this over here because I already have it marked up. So this was the 12-hour chart, and if you guys follow us in Funded Chat, I think Newbie posted a chart before I did, or mentioned that the 12-hour inside bar was in force. So overnight, not a lot was going on, right? We had this 12-hour inside bar, and then this morning I was up at about 7, something like that, 8 o'clock, take the dog out, and when I got sat back down, I noticed, so this is the 12-hour, I have the 12-hour high marked here, that's the entry. If we look on a 60-minute chart, you will see a rev strat here, right? Inside bar, a 2 down green. I marked the high. So we have a 60-minute setup into a, this 12-hour trigger, 60-minute trigger to trigger the 12-hour inside bar up. And so I jumped in along here and I rode this all the way up about as high as I could. Now, my goal originally was, you can see here we did pull back a bit, but my goal was to hold to this 361 target, which at the time seemed a bit excessive, to be honest with you. That doesn't look like the right chart. That's the daily. So you can see I had the target marked up here in green at 361. We actually got to 357 and a quarter. So about 3 points away, 4 points away from hitting that target, and then we reversed. So I started shorting at this short-term exhaustion level. And if we zoom in to a 15-minute, so this was the 12-hour target, a failed 2 up on the 15, and I've been using these a lot lately. The failed 2 up on a 15, 30, 60 is, especially the 15, is my early indication that we're looking at a reversal. And you can see once we broke to the downside. Now, this was a bit of a battle. It did kind of mess around here. It did take me a few attempts to finally catch this. But once I did, I got pretty much all of this, about 300 points here. Just with a couple micros, that's how I got the 1,600 in my new funded account. Now, my Top Step XFAs were locked, and I felt good locking them and just taking, I was up $650 total for the day after being down about 500. So I was glad to get back into the green, book the $200 days. One of my accounts is now eligible for a payout. And, so I just said, $650 for the day. I did the math. It's 13 grand a month. That's a pretty solid day, right? No need to kind of keep pressing my luck. And that's actually why I started a Blue Sky account. I was like, that's it. I'm done trading. Like, what am I supposed to do the rest of the day? So I started another prop firm account and was able to continue trading. And I think that might help me to just be happy locking in maybe smaller wins on one prop and then using another prop for being more aggressive, or another account. And so, this 15-minute failed 2 up was the first indication that we were kind of losing steam here after this massive push up. And then we got some Trump, the China news regarding tariffs. What else is new? And the market just completely sold off. But really, the waking up to this 12-hour inside bar setup that played out beautifully was it just made my morning. I was thrilled about it because it was a 60-minute domino trade. So we have a smaller time frame triggering a higher time frame, and it just blasted. We look on like a 5-minute chart here. It's going to be a little maybe difficult to see. Because I got a lot of here. Let me hide like this view app. Probably going to make it easier. So you can see right at the 60 on a 5-minute we had it did break, it pulled back, it double inside bar here, and then it just went. And once it broke through the 12-hour, it just launched a good. Let's see if I can kind of get an idea here of. That's not even right. It's 117 points, but it was closer to maybe 200, I would say. Let's use this. Let's see. Yeah, probably about 180 points. It just hit the 12-hour trigger and just moved. So that's what I traded in the morning. And it was a good reminder for me to be patient, right? Last night there was nothing. I dug myself into a bit of a hole, and I mentioned on the stream with you guys that sometimes the market, when we're red, when we're in drawdown, we don't have an opportunity to really dig ourselves out in a way that makes sense, right? Like my normal inclination is to sit here and fight and battle back so that I don't have to go to bed red. I do not like going to sleep red and waking up to red. Did not want to, wake up down $1,000, 500 in each XFA. But there was nothing to trade, and so I just said, you know what, Tom, we gotta call it a night, right? And that's what I did. And then I woke up and there was an easy trade, 750 bucks I made, got my accounts back into the green, and it was just like, hey, okay, we don't need to, I don't need to be just wait for the best setups. Wait for the 4-hour, the 12-hour, the 60. Take those trades, and don't. Today would have been a great day. It would have been $1,500 day in two XFAs had I not, traded last night in conditions that weren't really ideal. So here's the open. We'll see what we get here. Zoom in a bit, reset this chart. I'll check chat in a second if anybody is checking in, wants to say what's up, has questions. Just give me a second. Did want to review that trade because I had some people today ask me, they said it was really difficult to trade the volatility, which I get, but I had 3 micros, very small, one position, one micro starter, and then quickly added 2 more once the 60 started to go, and that was it. They were good for about 250 bucks each. So risk very small, gains. I think I closed at like 100 and what would it be, about 150, 125 points, 130 points, something like that on average. But like today, if you had shorted the 15-minute, the failed 2 up, the market moved like 600 points. That's $1,200 on a micro, which is, you can have a 50-point stop on a micro and just risk 100 bucks. Biggest thing I'm looking at on NQ is the, let me clean up these charts on my other screen, is we got a daily. Reset this chart. Daily inside shooter. Right? A 2 down green, an inside bar, and if we take out this low, we are likely to head back here. I mean, that would be pretty brutal for long-term holders, but that's kind of where we're headed, especially with the 100% tariffs. Now, we're in a very news-driven market at the moment, so tariff news could send the market screaming like it did the other day. Kind of missed my entry here. Should have been a little more zoned in on the charts. We did get the inside hour down. Ugh. Very upset with myself right this second for. I thought I started early enough to review this trade and then get back to charts. Maybe I get a shot here to enter on a 60. Like a retest. Wish I had gotten in on the 30 or the 15-minute rev strat, but I'm going to keep a wide stop on this. Potentially add to it here. We'll see. Going to keep small size on this and just scale in a little, maybe more aggressively than I ordinarily do or have recently, but it's kind of a tricky situation when I've got an account that's eligible for payouts. I don't want to give back a whole lot, but I need to risk something in order to make money. So I'm just going to be smart about it. You know, again, 3 micros earlier today was good for 750. I don't need to risk a ton to make some decent profits, but getting in on this 30 was where it was at. But I think we're still good. I think the day trigger's down and there's plenty of magnitude there. Like adding the initial entry should have been the 30 with an add on the 60, you know, or add another contract or two. Because there's a good chance we're just going to kind of do what we're doing here. Fall apart a bit. See how much I missed here by. Come on, man. Yeah, I missed another maybe 30 points on this by not getting the entry on the 30, but it's all right. We'll see what happens. I'm going to try and lock into these charts and do what I normally do, so bear with me while I kind of get locked in here. Make sure I'm making smart decisions about my trades more so than live streaming. It's my main priority. I think that's too tight. I think I want to add if we get back up near the 60 trigger. I hate letting a green trade go red.
Order filled.
Wish I could have done this differently off the jump, but less than ideal entries, but I think I'm okay. I'm also not risking a whole bunch here. I'm only in 2 micros, so if I get stopped out, I'll take the small loss and survive. That's why that looked weird. I had it on the 1,000 tick instead of the 100. A little more market structure on the 100 tick chart when things are usually a little slower. This gives me a better place to keep my stops as tight as possible. What's up, Arcane? I'll read your message in a sec. Give me a moment. A little more follow through here. I'll be able to take a deep breath and kind of chill out for a minute. I don't want to make another mistake like I did missing the 30-minute entry, which we had a small little pause at the 30 on the tick chart and then just kept going. The other thing I need to do here is update the daily open to, where did we open today? 17,22025. So that's our continuity level. All right, red on the day, red on the week now. Hopefully this pushes down here, gets the daily shooter in force, would be nice. Organize my charts a little bit on my other screen. I feel like I'm very unprepared. I thought starting 15 minutes early would be enough time, but see what we got going on. 5 minute inside bar, it looks like. Double inside. I prefer that doesn't break to the upside, for sure. Last night I got tagged out because my stop was a little too tight. I'm just evaluating where my stop is now relative to the entry and the 60-minute trigger. I think I'm okay. Like if I stop out here, that's I'll want to reevaluate the trade. If the 60 is no longer in force, then I won't be interested until the 60 goes back in force. Getting held up here at this weekly, weekly open. If we can stay underneath of that, I would be much more comfortable. But we'll see what happens here. Hopefully we break this 5 minute inside bar bearish and continue pushing down. That's going to be like right in this kind of area here. So flip this weekly continuity, break these lows, and then I think we get, some movement in this down in that direction. See how big this drop was off the open. Nope, not that. It's 171 points from the high to the low of that first 5 minute candle. That's quite a bit. See if we can break underneath this weekly open and push down. 15-minute flip in a minute 30. Like really at this point, I would like to have three minimum, maybe six micros at this point. But if I had gotten in on the 30-minute trigger, I would have had an opportunity to add. But I got to go with what I got. Happy to just squeak another micro in there. I try not to just FOMO add anymore. Just if I missed it, I missed it. That's the way the cookie crumbles, right? That's part of the game. I'll catch the next one. Trying to handle it a little bit better. Doesn't want to stay under this weekly open so far. Still 5 minute inside. Double inside. Previous candles an inside bar. Current candles inside bar. Would like to see the previous candle low get taken out. It's trying to, but hasn't happened yet. This was a really nice move off the open to the downside. I saw we had 20 seconds until the open, and it just happened so quick. Nothing I could do about it. Except maybe next time start a few minutes earlier. Make sure, maybe set a little alarm for 2, 3, 4 minutes before the open so I'm kind of focused on the top step charts. 15-minute flip, 30 seconds ago. Now we got double inside, fivers, current candles inside, so three in a row. Come on, break it. I am gonna type my stop up here because I definitely want this to go. I don't want these inside bars, which are right around my entry here. I'm actually gonna just break even. If I stop out, I stop out. I'd rather do that than start off with some red here. Um, and if I get tagged out, that'll be another lesson learned, just to not be so quick to break even. But I think I'm okay doing that here. Double inside could get kind of squeezy if we do break to the upside, and I don't want to be caught in it. I'll just wait. Maybe we come up and back test the 60-minute trigger or break it again, and I'll just have another opportunity to enter. But we are breaking it to the downside. See if we make new low a day. Here we go. New lows. See how far we are from taking out the day. Still a ways to go. But in a comfy position here, up 60 points. No stress. Up 220 times two accounts, so just under 500 bucks. Market's only been open 18 minutes, so not too bad. That's a healthy hourly rate. And then what I'll probably do if we get down to, and trigger the daily, that'll be the next kind of spot that I will look to add. I'll see how things look when we get there. Keeping in mind that a single tweet or, a live Q&A session with Trump could send the markets in the other direction. That's just how, that's kind of how things are these days. A lot of headline risk. All right, let me check chat and catch up with you guys. Appreciate you all stopping by. See what's what here. Arcan, it's been a while. Yes, it has. Uh, why you trade Asia? New York is where the meat is. No, I like trading the overnight. Like right now, no stress. 20 minutes in, I'm up 600 bucks, 76 points, especially with the volatility these days. Sometimes New York is just too, it's hard to manage risk when you've got a 150 point 1 minute candle. At least it is for me. Like even with a micro, a single micro, 100 points is $200 on a 1 minute candle. That's, no thank you. I'm just not a morning per. My brain really gets cranking, like this time of day. If I get, if I sleep well enough, sometimes the dog walk in the morning wakes me up, and I like New York pre-market. It's not as crazy as the open, but there's still, decent volatility. Trade what works for you. Try both. If you trade overnight and you find it's too slow, like last night it was terrible. But when it's moving like this, usually in the first hour of Globex, we can, have a good idea of whether things are going to move or not. Top Step X does not support custom indicators, right? No, they do not. You got to use TradingView. Options DGen might be a quick and boring night for me. Pretty much all small flips on my accounts done. $100 days is all you need to pay out. Yeah, focus on that, man. Bank those days, get that money. Secure the bag, as we like to say, right? Who says, do my order only last the amount of time I'm trading on? For instance, if I make a put on 15-minute time frame, do my order automatically end with 15? No. I mean, puts are options. So, I mean, I don't know if you're referring to futures, even options. I mean, if you are trading on a 15-minute time frame, your target should generally be on a 15-minute time frame unless you're trading like a domino setup where you have a 15-minute setup triggers like an hourly setup, then you use the hourly target to kind of exit your position, but there's no kind of like time limit. It's just the targets that we tend to use as stratters. Yeah, same with Thinkorswim, Top Step. I mean, the order is there until you close it or the option expires. Looks like it's going to be a quick night for me too. Options degen. I might close one near this daily trigger and then just let the other one ride instead of adding because I mean, I'm just going to take the, almost 800, 750, 800 here and chill, right? Like I'll just leave the one to run for the day. And if that daily triggers, that is 500 points. That'd be a grand on a micro, no risk, times two accounts, 2,000. Easy peasy. Right. Trying to be less greedy. One of the reasons I'm curious about trying Blue Sky is because they have a 30% consistency rule, like I mentioned, which forces you to close your positions when they're a certain dollar amount in profit. And I'm going to compare how well that account does to an account where I can kind of keep it open as long as I want and see if I'm making good decisions. See, break trying to break here might peel one off.
Tom, what's up?
What's up, buddy? Over here crushing it.
I know. I was sitting down to record a video and I saw the 60 and I hit it on some like micros or mini micros.
Yeah, this is this volatility, man. It's there's money to be made here, dude. It is. It is. Yeah, I mean, we opened the first 5 minute candle is 172 points. I missed there was a I missed the entry on the there was a 30-minute inside bar into a 60-minute inside bar break, and I like started. I was reviewing a trade from earlier, the 12-hour setup that I took the inside bar break pre-market, and like the market opened and I quick clicked over and like it was already at the 60 trigger, so I missed like the best entry, but I still hopped in because I assume we're going a lot lower, but yeah, no, yeah,
I have a feeling they're going to do it overnight.
I'll be here for it. I think I might just
Yeah, it's
Yeah, you're one of us now. I know. It's funny. Like I'll be looking at charts and it could be 3, 4 in the morning, and I'm like, there's no, I don't know if anybody's up. I post in fun to chat, and then options degen, or I'll click over and like options degen saw the same thing I did, and he's like, yo, just caught that, whatever, whatever. I'm like, oh my god, we are crazy, dude, crazy
yeah.
people.
Morning is like another two. Like it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Like you stop the top ones, it's like you can just go crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's really like if you build up it's when you first start like a new funded, you're not worried about giving back a whole lot. Like the thing for me, and I've noticed is, like on a new evaluation account today, I put up 1,600. I was trading 5 micros, no problem, right? Up 1,100, took another trade, boom, 1,600. I'm capped at like making 1,800 on the day. No stress, wasn't worried about it. And in my XFAs, I'm trading much smaller size, and I'm trying to balance like not having that fear, like taking the trades, being as aggressive as I need to based on the setup, and not worrying about giving some back while also not giving back too much because, one of these accounts is payout eligible. So I don't want to just, you know, take a trade. I just don't want to be down 500 for no reason, you know? So
Yeah. This morning, man, I threw a little bit.
what was that this morning? This morning, what? That was, yeah, I scaled into a short a little too soon. It looked like it was going to they were out of gas. And then it wasn't until we basically hit the 12-hour target, which was the daily trigger to the upside, that things started to reverse. But the one thing I know is like, if at first you don't succeed, try again kind of a thing. I'm okay stopping out as long as I keep my losses small, because when I catch the trade that works, man, it just pays for all the losses and some. And that's really the whole key to it.
It's
Yeah.
like I think average was like I don't know, but I took a good few losing trades and a few big ones. But um, I think the biggest thing that I'm like with the I guess the funded specifically is focusing on simultaneous breaks because literally just today and yesterday the 230 simultaneous breaks at the open, and those are the only ones you need.
Yeah.
Like when the volatility's high, they break and they're gone. Like there's no messing around. It's so cool.
Yeah, I mean that was like the four. Like I noticed the 4 hour was likely to go outside. Elaine posted about the 12 hour, and I was like, if the 4 hour goes, the 12 hour is most likely to follow. And I didn't. There wasn't really like a setup to jump in, but I'm like, if I'm 90%, 80%, 70% confident that it's gonna go outside bar, it doesn't really matter where I get in as long as I manage risk, right? Just take the trade, because if we know where it's going, then who cares? So maybe you deal with a little bit of drawdown, but like that, just pushed me over the edge and trusting the higher time frame setups, and that's where I get my bias from. I'm a 4 hour, 12 hour daily kind of guy. And when those things are moving, and the 62, but if we got a 4 hour or 12 hour going, then I'm just trusting. If there's magnitude, I'm looking for a way in, man. It doesn't matter if a 5 minute, a 15 minute. If I can find a way in, I'm trying to get into that.
Yeah, longer so I could, build an even bigger buffer today. But
Yeah, you're off to a good start though. In that, I think that's a funded account, right? You have an Express
yeah,
on that.
yeah,
Damn, nice job, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, it's yeah. Don't get just you know the deal. We take good setups. The money kind of shows up, and you know that's about it. You know?
well, I think that's the downfall of like when the volatility does die out. Like there's maybe like you might get two really good moves in a day, versus a day like today. It's like well, there's probably 10 really good entries
Yeah,
the strat, just not like a fiver, maybe more.
yeah,
So I think when because eventually volatility goes back down. Like unless SPY goes to zero, it's going to go down. So my thought process is like once it does, I need to like really scale back and like you said, like focus on those like 4 hours.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you don't like the thing that like last night was really slow, and I dug a hole for myself, and I was talking about it earlier on stream. Is it's really difficult for me to kind of walk away in the red. My normal tendency is to want to get back to at least break even or green, and then sleep peacefully. But if the market isn't giving opportunities, there's really nothing you're going to do about it. And if you keep trying, you're going to dig the hole deeper. So I just said, I told myself, go to bed, dude. See what's on look for opportunities tomorrow. There's probably going to be some volatility at some point. And that's what happened. I woke up, walked the dog. I sat down. I got the 60 into the 12 hour. It just ripped. I made 750 with three micros, got myself out of the red and into the green across three XFAs. Booked the $200 days, and I was like, cool, payout eligible in one account. But like, it's important to recognize when things aren't moving to, like you said, dial it back. Don't trade as aggressively. Just really, you got to be patient. There's going to be fewer setups. It's just the way it is.
At like midnight, and I was looking at these, and this was after the volatility started expanding a little bit. And I was like, I'm gonna want some funded accounts for this mix going down.
Yeah.
So I opened some, I traded them, I was up, and I was like, cool. And I just went back to bed. But I went to Florida to meet with trades not long ago, and I was up in the morning just watching how he's going through it, and pretty much all his group is doing is like they're using like a 4 hour and a daily and a 30, and then entering on like a 3 minute. And what they're doing is they're lining up two reversals on the 4 hour, the daily, and the 30, pretty much all in the same direction, and then just getting in on a 3 minute like an order block, or um, they might even just enter right when the candle closes, kind of like the 60 at high a day today on the futures.
Yeah.
Um, but I was like looking at it, I was like, well, first of all, they're just trading the strat, which is really cool. And then second, I was like, well, it kind of makes a lot more sense because all they're doing is they're doing like top down analysis of like a 4 hour basis so they can have a trade almost every day. Like that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
And so I started like going through it, and I was like, this is like first of all, it's like it's not new, but second, it's like this is something I could just kind of throw on even if we're still stock trading, and then just like leave it.
Yeah. That's what I
So
like
that's what
about
got
it
me
because
thinking.
I'm not looking for like 10 or 20 points. I'm ideally like, overnight 40 points is good, but like during New York, man, 80 or 100 points shouldn't be that difficult. And the best time frames to trade for those are going to be the higher time frames. Can you squeeze some out on smaller time frames? Sure, but like I have much more confidence in trading like the 4 hour, which I was watching the Ninja Trader stream, and they had Kane on the other day, who when you mentioned the that 4 hour setup that they look for, that's like the 10 a.m. flip when you get the new 4 hour candle. That's what he was
Yeah,
talking about, and I'm like, bro, we're on the same page. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking where are we at when that 4 hour prints at 10 a.m. and is are we going up or down? And and trying to take advantage of those higher time frame setups. They just work
Yeah,
better.
well, and him going through analysis and him trying to make his model and stuff. But like what they're doing is they're not. A lot of his trades actually aren't even on the reversal candle. Like if you went on to like a 4 hour on the ES or something with the rev strat, what Monday at like 5 in the morning.
Yes, Monday, 4 hour. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 6 a.m. I took that trade. I actually took yeah, I took that trade. That was a I thought that candle was going outside bar and then it just took another, it just ended up going compound outside, which is, cool when when that finally clicked and I'm like, "Oh, we're just looking to go through the other side of the range. If it takes another candle, it takes another candle. It's still, if you smash them together, it's an outside bar.
Yeah,
Simple as that."
but a lot of sense for me. Also, it's like when you're holding them, it makes more sense. It's like he was just like, well, the smaller the wick is, the bigger the body's going to be, pretty much every time. Which is another way of saying like, if it goes red and stays red, it's likely to close out red. Like red gets
Right.
same thing.
Yeah.
But like when you look at it, you look at the size of the wicks. It means like if you take a signal and you're looking at the 4 hour and you have this tiny wick and it's nice and red, it's like, well, it's probably not going to come back. And like that, I don't know, it's not new, but when we were just talking about it, like it made it click more, like as far as what they're doing on the futures. I was like, okay, this is more what would I say? As it makes more sense versus like stocks where you go in and you play it and it's like open 2 minutes later it's up $3 and like it's just a different beast
Yeah.
compared to futures with normal volatility. But now they're kind of crazy, so it's like trading stocks now like that.
Yeah, it's crazy how, over time, like as long as you've been doing this and, I got some time under my belt now, but like and I always tell this to newer traders, anybody who asks me questions, like just give it some time. As time goes on and you hear the same thing over and over, like you might hear the same thing 10 times, but on the 11th time somebody explains it slightly different and then you're like, "Oh, holy shit." You know what I mean? Like that's just a different way of looking at it and that works for you and that's like awesome when that happens to have that kind of
Yeah,
experience.
100%.
Glad I peeled one off here. I think we're still gonna retrigger the day, but just gonna kind of chill out, not in a rush. Up 80 points on this position. Just gonna leave my stop. I've noticed that if I start micromanaging or trailing my stop too tight, sometimes I don't, stick to the plan, and then I just miss some gains. So like worst case here, I if I stop out break even, I stop out break even. But willing to let things kind of go. I don't see a whole lot of evidence that we're gonna reverse. I mean, we could, but we'll find out soon enough. Let me skim through chat here. Sorry, guys. Do. High form top step. Uh, Options DGen is going to save its
Scan.
Apex PA for New York Vol. Smart. What's up, Elaine? I don't know if you're still here, but hello. Let's see you. Yeah, I agree. Options DGen. We're definitely getting spoiled with this volatility. Like last night, I was sitting down for at the open, expecting massive moves, and we just didn't get them. So it's I'm glad I just called it early because no sense in getting chopped up before the moves actually happen. Like today, there was plenty of opportunity. As long as you didn't hit DLL or blow up or whatever last night, you had great opportunity today. And I try and remind myself of that not to blow up before the real move happens. That's so important. You don't want to be sidelined, and then you see a setup where you're like, oh my god, that is just beautiful, and you can't take it because you don't have an account to trade. Elaine said dinner time. Teddy, would I trade the continuation at 10 a.m. as well? Um, It kind of depends. I mean, usually, not usually. I mean, usually I'm looking for, we're trying to look for some kind of corrective activity and then a way to get in. Like I did tell somebody earlier today on NQ, they took hourly continuation to the upside and there was a much better entry on the 15 or 30. We had a nice push up. Let's see, I'll pull it up here on this chart. Uh, right here. So we had this, we broke the I don't know if this is the right. I know that says 30, but we had this solid move up, a little bit of corrective activity, a two down green, not a hammer, but on the 30, this was a hammer. And then, this was the best entry, and somebody entered on this continuation. It's just a higher risk kind of way of getting in. I usually don't like entering on continuations. It's just not, it's not really how I do things. What's that? Yeah, yeah, jump in.
Sure. You want to think about routing convention. Like, if the bar you're entering is already a two up, you are at new highs compared to the previous bars at the top of
Exactly.
the routing information,
Yeah.
right? And if it's two down, you're at the lows of the routing information, which doesn't mean it has to reverse because we know they expand. But it does mean when you enter, you want to enter at the correct point. You don't want to enter at new highs or at new lows. So what you want to do is you want to, if you're going to play, let's say a 60 continuation on the Nasdaq, which occurred what hour before market open,
Yeah.
if you're going to play that, you want it to open, look for reversals to form that higher low to cause the continuation. You don't want to enter at the break of the continuation because we can't expect it to go right away. Versus on a reversal, when you enter a reversal, you can expect it to keep going because prices change in direction and you have losers.
Yeah, so on my chart here on the screen, this is where he was entering up here at this high, and you can see we made a new high, and then there's, some corrective activity. Actually, I don't remember what this looks like on the 30. There was a little bit of a pullback, but you just want to avoid, like Alex said, getting in. We don't want to short new lows or new highs. Just better to, and if you miss it, you miss it. I like to, if they're like this, I knew there was 12-hour magnitude. We had a nice push up, little bit of a pullback, corrective activity, higher low, two down green, 30-minute hammer candle. Like that was the time to get in. And if you miss that, then you just got to patiently wait for another opportunity. Um, GG. When you trading futures, what time frame do I use to execute? All of them. I mean, my top step, I'm on the, like I have the smaller time frames, usually the 2 minute, but with the volatility, I have the 1 minute, and I've been using the tick chart. Just gives me a little, kind of zoomed in. It really helps me with kind of laser focused entries. But really, I'm using all the time frames, right? I took an entry. I was trading a 60-minute setup into a 12-hour. I'm looking on the 5, 15, and 30 to see, to look for opportunities to get in earlier. And that's it, man. I'm just scanning all of the time frames using all the data that I can to find the best opportunity to get in with the best entry and the tightest stop. And that's how I do it. It's, kind of it's been a winning strategy for me. So yeah, anytime somebody asks me like what time frame, yeah, I'm looking for setups. My ideal setups are the 60, the 4 hour, the 12-hour day. But I'm not using a stop on a 4 hour time frame. I'm zoomed in to a 1 minute, a 5 minute, you know, as tight as I can get within reason. Sometimes too tight. If you stop out, just get back in. What's up, DT? Good to see you here. We could see upside from here. I would be surprised. I mean, we could. Again, we're we're in like a headline risk environment. Tweets, news conferences, whatever. If Trump posts he had a call with China and things went great, the market is likely to rally. I mean, we saw that the other day with the uh, alleged 90-day pause on tariffs. The market just ripped higher. So you have to be cautious of that. But As straters, we've got full time frame continuity to the downside. The year is red, the quarter is red, the month is red, the week is red, the day is red, the 60 is red. We haven't hit any kind of major exhaustion levels yet. We got a daily setup to the downside. So I used to try and fight the trend. It's, like guess the bottoms or tops, and I just get steamrolled. And now it's like I just go with where the market's moving. Keeps things nice and easy. Mike, thank you. Yeah, 100 points. Got this got this runner kind of sitting around here at 80. Probably add like if we get the daily to re-trigger. I mean, we've been kind of chopping around here sideways enough that if this breaks, I'll be comfortable adding to this. So we'll see what happens. Teddy says still paper trading futures at Ninja Trader. I found the best time frame for me so far to be the 4 hour and 6 hour testing MES at a stop loss of 80 ticks. I would definitely blow my account if I traded minis. Yeah, I mean, look, trading is scalable. So if you trade MES and you can do it consistently, then you just trade two MES and then three or four. You get up to a mini. And when there's extreme volatility like there is today, if you're not comfortable with it, just size down. It's not a race. Like really, guys, it's always us versus us, just trying to be a little bit better today than we were yesterday. Don't compare yourselves to, traders out there putting up big numbers like Alex over here with his 6 grand and his new XFA account. He's also, you don't know how long somebody's been trading. You don't know what their experience is like. I mentioned regularly that 2, 3 years ago, trading crypto, I was happy with a $20 day. And now for me, like it's like 500 to $1,000 day is not unusual at all. And so, compared to somebody who put up 50,000 today, yeah, I'm like, I could sit here and beat myself up like, well, why can't you do that? But I have to look at, how far I've come and the changes that I've made in my trading and starting to follow rules and have discipline and getting rid of fear and greed. It's just a process. Yeah, options degen said the ability to scale in and out with micros is big. When you're still starting out. I agree. Like if I was all in with one mini, I was either out of the full position or, you're either in or out. And I just took one off when we got down near this trigger, which is what I said I was going to do. Um, just because of the size of this move before this triggered. I don't want to see I like to see things trigger after some corrective activity or a little bit of a pause, not just dump, 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 dump. Break the 30, break the 60, then break the day without any kind of corrective activity. Just the further you get, it just makes me a little hesitant. So, like now we're just kind of chopping around sideways. If we start to break lower, I'll be like, okay, that was the corrective activity I was waiting for. Let's add to that position or whatever. If we get back down there, we'll see. Did break a 15-minute inside bar up. So we'll keep an eye on that. 30-minute inside. We get a 60-minute flip in 14 minutes. But even if I stop out of this, I lock in another 266. So that's $500 in 46 minutes of trading. Not too bad. Book the day. I'm just swinging for base hits right now, and if I happen to catch a really great move, that's awesome. But consistency is key for me at this point. Every time I try and intentionally swing for the fences, you get over leveraged. If the trade doesn't work, I get frustrated. I've heard Alex say many times like you shouldn't be stressing out about a position that you're in. If you are most likely over leveraged, right? A loss should be like, okay, no big deal, on to the next one, not holy shit, I'm gonna blow my account up, kind of a thing.
Because the thing is like ES today. If you had one micro near the highs on the 30 or the 60, then it goes down 60 points. You can always get more. Like if it's gonna keep going, you can always risk some of their money and make more, or you can just be happy with it. Like
Yeah.
You just have to make sure you're right. Especially when volatility's high like this. Like you can't take a loss and then be like, oh, I'm done for the day. It's like, no, each 60 is a new day. And
Yeah, you got to stay in the game. That's I have people who message me and they're like, "Yeah, I took that trade, it didn't work." And I'm like, "Okay." Like, and then what? You didn't get back in? Why not? I mean, that's they're like, I don't know how you catch these trades because I refuse to give up, right? Like, I mean, it's to the point where sometimes it's problematic. I have to say, I've tried to set a rule for myself after, 3 attempts or so. Maybe it's me, maybe it's the market, but it's just not working for whatever reason. Don't sit there and paper cut myself to death as much as I, can, but I'm not going to just give up on the first try. If it doesn't work, that's fine. I'm going to see maybe it works the second or third time. And again, hope that when I catch the move, it's big enough to cover the losses and then, put some green in the account. What do you mean M2K North? You said, is it worth trading the M2K? I don't know what that is. Is that a
it's the
ticker?
micro mini Russell.
Oh, M2K. Uh, I mean, define is it worth it? Are you, if you like trading that market, sure. I would say, there's some people who really like YM because of the way it moves. NQ is much more erratic. It's more wicky. There's more volatility. ES is a little bit calmer. Well, a lot calmer often. It doesn't move as fast, but if you're an adrenaline junkie and you're looking for quick gains and you can handle it, then trade NQ. If NQ, if you're getting chopped up or wicked out or just taking you're not comfortable with the way NQ moves, switch to something that doesn't move as crazy or trade a different time. It's a lot of experimenting and figuring out where you do best. Some people are better New York traders, right? Or trade really well at the open. Other traders hate trading the open. They wait 30 minutes before they start trading. I tend to like overnight as long as there's some volatility. New York used to be too quick for me, but now I realize like I don't need to trade 3, 6, 9 micros. Especially with this volatility, I just trade one or two or three, and I try and capture a larger chunk of the move. So figure out what works for you. Use a practice account and do some experimenting, and
Yeah.
you know,
And bring to just the volatility, how quick things are happening.
yeah,
So if you really want to slow it down, go on a weekly chart. Like it's like you take it and it's a weekly trade, right? Maybe you stop out and re-enter it, but you can slow it down or speed it up as much as you want.
yeah, it's a
And
good
what
point.
is crazy, like overnight or maybe during sometimes in New York, like the middle of the end of the session, it's a
Yeah,
little slower. Um, but the same thing's true about a daily chart. It's gonna be slower. You have a whole day where it's gonna play out. And if you know the strat and you look at like today's 60 chart, and you're like, that's a 2-2 reversal on the 60, and down they went, and then kind of like what you guys traded recently, the inside down continuation, it's still going. That same thing happens on a weekly chart. Like you go to the weekly chart at all-time highs, we had a 2-2 reversal on all the index sectors, and you got to hold it for 3 weeks. You're gonna do that. So it's really up to what are you most comfortable with and how fast do you want it to go.
yeah, and you won't know until you try it. I mean, I could sit here and tell you the way that NQ moves, but until you actually trade ES and then compare it to NQ, you're not going to, have a great idea of how you react to those conditions. So switch up your time frame, trade higher time frames, switch the instrument that you're trading, switch the time of day. New York in the afternoon is much different than the open. Just, practice, 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 figure out what works, keep track of it if you can. I mean, I'm a terrible journaler. I've made many attempts to like journal my trades. Um, but that's another thing you could do. Hey, you write down the time, the date, the trade that you took. Did it work? Did it not? What you made, and then you might recognize a pattern of, oh, every time I'm trading in the afternoon, I'm crushing it, and when I trade the open, I'm not doing so well. And you have some kind of evidence that can guide you in one direction versus another. Teddy with micros. Wait a minute, let me see here. With micros, I can hold a position and go get a drink. With minis in 30 seconds. With this volatility, I can either make big or lose big. Real story. 9:30, 9:40 a.m. Eastern today. Yeah, exactly. Like you gotta, and some people are fine with that. If you want to, it's nice if you can get into position and not, and just let it go and do its thing, right? And not, there are many times that I micromanage trades. I trail my stop too tight, and then I miss a good chunk of the move, like I did today with, the 12 hour. I just wasn't, what I should have done was just left my runner, set my take profit up near the target, or didn't have to quite be at the target, and just left it. I would have made more money just walking away and walking, taking my dog for a walk or playing fetch than me just sitting here staring at the screen. So again, it comes down to, the type of trader you are. Some people are okay. They just get in a trade. They don't feel the urge to click buttons. I often have to resist the urge to, want to click buttons. So, worth trading M2K we discussed. Russell moves slower, 50 cents a point. Yeah, do what works for you, man. Experiment.
Um, as far as journaling's concerned, the if you had to break it down to the simplest way to do it, take your analysis. So, like, you're going to draw your broad information. You have a candle that's setting up a reversal or signal. Take that analysis, take a screenshot of it when it breaks or before it breaks, and then after the chart completes, either reversing against or hitting the other side of the broad information, whatever you want to do, take a picture, and then you can also look at your, how you traded it if you want to pull your executions together, and you can just screenshot it, throw it all in a folder.
That's
That'd probably be the most efficient.
that's what I started doing last week. I have a tool called Snagit. I labeled there, you can label screenshots, so I labeled it like trading or journal or whatever, and then I can view those grouped together in chronological order, and it's really easy to take a screenshot and then just annotate it real quick. I'm like, was looking at the 2-2 whatever, or the rev strat or whatever I'm looking at. Couple quick little notes, and then update it after the trade, or if I've gotten out and say like, hey, that this worked, or I should have done this or whatever. But yeah, I'm not great with. I've tried doing the actual physical writing it down, but it's just not me. I don't know, man. I can't do it. I can't. I mean, I could do it. I'm just not. I haven't been disciplined enough to do it. That's all. It really hasn't. Uh, you know, I haven't decided that I need it that bad. But definitely, if you're new, it's helpful. Like I used to have tons of notes on my desk, on post-its, on the monitor, the strat combo sheet, anything that I thought was helpful, that was going to improve my trading, I was willing to try. So that's the mindset that I think is most important, is to feel, have that passion that you want to learn this, and that you're willing to put in whatever it takes, because it will take everything that you have to not only learn a strategy, but then learn how to control yourself, how to follow a plan. I've never been a very self-disciplined kind of person, and in trading, it's a requirement. There's no way that I could be a successful trader without following rules, like period. And I had to continuously drill that into my head in order to, start to become successful. It was like, you put these list of rules together to be successful, and you're not going to follow them. Like, that's crazy. Like, this is the roadmap to becoming profitable and consistent. You have to do what's on the sheet, man. Like, I can't sit here for 12 hours straight. I still do every once in a while, but I have to have a certain daily loss limit, and then I'm done, or a certain number of trades and then I'm done. I got some sheets printed out on my desk now, and they really have helped me to just remind myself what I'm doing here. It's easy to just sit here and be like, oh, I'm just trying to make money and click buttons, but there's got to be a path that we follow. Favorite time frame. Favorite time frame is really this. I like setups on the 60, the 4 hour, the 12 hour, and the day. And then I'm looking for entries on smaller time frames. I like trading at night, but I've gotten much better during New York, and have kind of adapted to the volatility by just sizing down. You could sit here for 2 hours overnight, and make the same money that you can make in 5, 10, 15 minutes during New York. So I'm trying to find a balance between, how long I want to sit here. Like now the market's moving, or I mean it was, but so that's fine. But if the market's not moving, like I need to just get up and walk away. Otherwise, the longer I sit here, the more, I get like ants in my pants. It's like, all right, we need to be doing something. And the truth is, sometimes there's nothing to do. It's the doing is the sitting and waiting, and that's a lot of what trading is. You're just sitting here waiting for good setups. Just like when you go fishing, you're not just constantly catching fish. You're mostly sitting there waiting for the fish to bite. Just like you were waiting for a trade setup, for the right conditions, and then we get in. DT, make a video journal. That's a good idea. I do these live streams, which is helpful, but I've also recorded myself trading where I do what I do here, which is, talk through the setup out loud, and then it just helps me to make sense. Is this logical? Is what I'm saying, is this a good setup? Are all of my conditions being met for a good trade? If it is, then great. If you can't explain out loud why you're getting into a trade, and or you wouldn't be proud of like sharing why you got into a trade with somebody, then it might be a trade that you don't need to get in. So yeah, but whatever tools you guys have available, if you want to record yourselves, paper journal, take screenshots. I mean, it's all helpful. It's only going to benefit you. Talk money to me. Apologies if I already covered this. You just joined. Welcome. It seems like trading futures rather than options is the best way to actually trade the strat setups cleanly with proper stops and targets. Would I recommend a beginner start out in futures? Options are enticing, but mainly due to the big moves. They are both. I mean, I trade crypto the same as I trade stocks, the same as I trade futures. So it doesn't really matter. The thing you have to remember with options is you have to pick a strike, right? You have implied volatility, you have theta, which is time decay, and so there are other variables. With futures, it's just long or short, right? You only have to pick a direction. Same with stocks, long or short. I'm a huge fan. I used to I traded options for 4 years. I've been trading futures 6 months. I will still dabble in options, but my primary focus lately has been futures. I really enjoy trading futures. Yeah, exactly. Like options DJs, you got to be right with the price, the direction, and time, which is obviously harder than just saying, I expect it to go down or up. What time is it? 7 o'clock. So we got the hourly flip. Let's see what happens here. We got an inside 30. We got a rev strat on the 15, close to triggering. So here's the 15er. Nope, that's the 60. Here's the 15. So we've got a 15 rev strat to potentially trigger the 30-minute inside bar down to potentially trigger the daily. So it might be a good place to kind of add one here. I might wait. Keep an eye on this. I think I'm going to add one. Order filled. I'm going to add one. I'm going to break even my stop here. And this either, works or doesn't. Maybe I'll add another down here. I'm going to set an alert on this 30 inside bar getting close to triggering. Market on this chart. So this is the 30. Little bit of, we got a ways to go before this triggers, but and let's mark the 15 for reference, right? And as long as the 15 stays in force, we got a shot at the 30. and potentially triggering the day. So domino setup, and that is what we like to see. Right, entry on the 15, tight stop using the 5, the 15, but trying to capture a much larger move. Talk money, right on. I found it hard to place target stops and feel the need to babysit trades more on options. Yeah, I mean that's you're gonna probably feel the need to babysit futures positions too. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. But if you haven't traded futures before, get yourself a prop. You can get a prop account. I highly recommend Top Step. $50. Get yourself a 50K account. You have no risk. You're just in for $50, and you can pull money out of them if you can trade consistently. And if you blow up, it's not the end of the world. Or just trade a practice account. That's up to you. But I think trading practice is hard. People tend to oversize. They don't take it as seriously. It's like, yeah, I'm just going to buy 10 contracts, 15 contracts. They post some huge gains and then they get in an actual real account and they can't come close to duplicating that. So at least with a prop account, you do have some money on the line, right? Small amount of risk, but it's something that you care about more than just a straight up practice account. So 15-minute working here, getting a nice little push down. See if we get the 30 to trigger. Oh, pretty please, let's say it. What are we talking about? The domino down. Decided to play the Apex account. Got it good in red already. Oh gosh, DJan. What'd you do? Top Step over Ninja Trader. Ninja Trader. I like Top Step X, but you could use Ninja if you're used to Ninja Trader. You can use Ninja Trader on Top Step. I think that's what options DGen uses. Oh no, he uses Quant Tower, but I like the Top Step X platform because they have some really cool risk tools. But if you're familiar with Ninja and you prefer Ninja, nothing wrong with doing that. You can open up an account on Top Step and trade through Ninja Trader. Enoch, Tom, you came a long way since last time I saw you 6 months ago. Oh, thanks, man. I feel like I have for sure. A little bit better each day. Sometimes a couple steps backwards, but always walking away having learned something about myself and something I can do differently to improve my trading. And I just put in a shit ton of effort. I don't think I'm that much smarter than anybody else. I mean, kind of generally speaking, I'm a pretty smart guy, but there are a lot of smart people out there. I'm just willing to like almost kill myself putting in the time and energy to get really good at something. I like to win. I like to be as good as I possibly can, whether it's really anything in my life. If ping pong, horseshoes, you give me a game to play that's competitive, I want to win. I'll play it. I'll practice. Shooting pool, whatever it is. So I appreciate that. That's good to know because sometimes I don't feel like I've made a lot of progress. I know that I have, but it's hard to see. So it's nice to get some outside recognition and validation. Maybe I get an ad here on the 30. I was looking like I might get stopped out of this. I mean, there was buyers had a lot of work to do to kind of get this moving to the upside. When I'm looking at a trade, I'm evaluating where the day is quite red, right? The 12-hour is quite red. The 4-hour red. The 60 red. What are the chances buyers are gonna step up and turn around the day? It's just not likely at this point. So I'm gonna stick with my shorts, and if I get stopped out, I get stopped out. But I'm not going to kind of panic or bail early. Hoping that maybe tonight this trade I get a little more breathing room here. I can walk away and just leave it and wake up tomorrow in a really great position. It's something that I want to practice is leaving positions open overnight and not checking my phone every 15 minutes. Feel you have dedication and you go 100%. People appreciate passion. Yeah, I'm all in, man. To the point where it could be a problem. Like I've talked about I got into saltwater aquariums a while back, and it was like my whole life was like all about saltwater aquariums. That's just kind of how I am, and I feel like if you don't love trading, if you're just trying to get rich, it's probably not going to work. You really have to enjoy the game itself, right? Like the challenge, the studying price action. The money is great, but I mean, it's not gonna lie, it's a big reason why I do this. But I love this whole experience of being a trader, the freedom that it gives us, the money that we can make. You don't have to answer to anybody. It's a challenge. It's always us versus ourselves. Hyper focus for sure, Mike. Options DGen. Don't know how he did it, but dug out of a hole somehow. Just need a little more, please. Keeping an eye on this 30. I got this alert set. I got the level marked. Would be nice to get a little more larger position size and just kind of let this thing run and hope I catch a nice on the daily. If we get down to Monday's lows, it's 500 points. That would be great with like 5 micros. What would that be? 5 grand. I would take that. That would be a nice payout. Oh no, I'm not copy trading for some reason. I cleared my copy trading. I was going to switch the primary account and I just didn't. That sucks. That is really, really annoying. I just noticed. All right, let me cancel copy trading. Maybe I'll just enter. Let me clear this. Give me a second, guys. That really throwing me off. Very disappointed in myself there. Might just have to manually copy trade it like an entry on the 30 in this other account. Very disappointing. It's the difference between being up 500 and 1,000. I have not made that mistake in quite some time. So, what are you going to do? What's up, pizza? Love that success doesn't revolve around other people. Me too. I'm a huge fan of that, right? The effort that we put in is what we get out. We're not relying on anyone else to kind of help us along directly. Like indirectly, yeah, we're talking to other traders. We're learning from other traders. It's so disappointing, guys. I can't even tell you. I'll be okay, but damn. Mike, new hyperfocus is singing covers of your favorite metal songs. I have a friend who sings, and she's going to let me mess around in her homemade studio. Nice. But that's your newest thing. Yeah, I can relate, man, to those things we just latch on to and kind of run with. Sang a song 60 times yesterday. Yeah, exactly. You're just my kind of guy. Yeah, I got distracted when I cleared copy trading and then I got sidetracked and I never relinked the accounts. So I'm gonna stay on this backup account here and maybe get an entry on this 30. I got 17 minutes. I'm gonna jump in this now. I'm gonna keep a wide-ish stop. Put a stop sell here. I hope this works. Um, can you show the 30 entry? Is this that's the 15. Here's the 30-minute inside bar. So we break the low. We'll be targeting new low a day, and then that will trigger the daily setup, the inside bar breakdown on the daily. Ideally, I would wait for this 30 to trigger, but 15 is in force. About to get a flip in a minute 40, but yeah, I mean, I'm anticipating the 30 is going to go. It doesn't have to, but I'm green in that other account, so willing to risk some of those profits on just taking this entry and hoping that it goes. So we'll see. It's really sad. I'm on 30. We got 15 and a half minutes here for this candle. I don't usually use stop sells, but I'm going to in this case. It is a good way to kind of, be hands off. To get an entry at a specific price that you're looking for. Might add on the day too. Now I gotta jump back and forth. Order filled. So this is why I like adding, because now my average entry comes down, but my stop is still in profit. So I don't add any risk, but I increase my position size. If it goes against me, and I stop out, I won't make as much depending on where my stop is, but I'm willing to, increase my risk a little bit, hoping to catch a bigger move. So I'm gonna let these play out, guys. That's kind of my plan here. Keep an eye on this. See if we make a new low a day. That will be the pretty much the trigger for the inside day down, and hopefully this continues pushing down to 16,460. Here's the day. Jesus, I flipped the screen and we just kind of ripped through it there. I was gonna add. Trail my stuff down a little bit on this, and yeah, I'm mostly just gonna camp on this like overnight. See if I can catch a really nice move. Put a good chunk of change in these accounts. Take a payout. Let me see if at least the account that I traded, my Globex account, isn't even the one that I'm payout eligible on. I took a payout here. I need 2 more days. So the account that I'm eligible for a payout, my backup account here, with 5 days, is the one that I didn't copy trade. So hopefully by tomorrow morning I can, put another grand $700 in this. I'll take $1,000 payout, $1,500 payout. Hopefully I just wake up and it's I'm up 2-3 grand. Be a happy camper. So that's it, guys. I want to thank Alex for checking in, stopping by. Hope you guys got something out of that. Appreciate you all being here. Anyone have any other questions? Let me check YouTube chat real quick and then I'll hop off. Uh, DT, good evening, nice trade. What's up, buddy? Um, yeah, that's about it. Any questions? Things you guys are looking at real quick before I peace out? Oh, what's up, Maria? How are you? Options DGN, didn't know how you managed to survive. Your life sounds stressful, bro. All right, DT. Have a good night, Billy, Ken, everybody else. Again, love you guys. Thanks for stopping by. Try and do this every futures opens. Have been slacking a little bit, but the last few days I've been doing these streams. So check out my YouTube T3 Metrics. Subscribe. I stream on there and in Discord. So all right, everybody have a good night.